How you doing? Welcome to episode 1 of the Bass with Benjamin bass vlog. And this is just my first time just kind of doing this, kind of like a little free-for-all, just going for it with a topic in mind. But this is a weekly thing that I'm just, planning on doing for my YouTube channel. So thank you again for watching and checking this out. And as you could probably see in the title, we're going to talk about the Ibanez Grooveline basses, and that's what I'm playing right here. I've got a 6-string version, and you can see the red one over here. This is a 5-string version that I've had for, let's see, since 2011, so almost about 13 years. So had them for quite a while. The 6-string I've had for about 10 years now, actually, which is really cool. But the thing I want to talk about with, in particular, just give you like a little rundown of these instruments. They're a very unique and interesting instrument, especially specifically to Ibanez. And let me just start off by saying that I am an Ibanez endorsed artist, and I have been with them for 13 years now. They've been such a great, wonderful, supportive company to me. But I have been playing Ibanez basses for probably at least 25 years now. So the instruments I'm very familiar with. But I'll get into that a little more. But today's episode is just specifically about the Grooveline, and people have been asking me, like on my videos or on like some of the Facebook groups, like the Ibanez ones, like, what do you think about the Grooveline? Like, what I wish I got to play them. Wish Ibanez still make them. And so this video is to essentially kind of just answer some of those questions and just to give you some more info on this interesting line of basses that Ibanez made for a very short time and sadly no longer have been making for probably the last 7 years now. So how did they start getting into making these basses? From what I understand, they asked a couple of professional bass players, and some of them, I think they were Ibanez players at the time. I don't know who they were. I think there were some cats in the US and Europe and Japan, and just kind of took their input and ideas and just put it all together. And some of them talked about having something a little more traditional but serves a modern purpose, something that is easy to play, ergonomic, but is still very high quality. And I guess this is what came out of that. I was one of the very first Ibanez artists to start playing the Grooveline back in 2011 when it first was released. I had just joined American Idol singer David Archuleta, his band, and we were gonna go on like a big world tour and domestic tours around the US, and at the same time I just signed up as a Ibanez artist, and they gave me a 4-string Grooveline to try out, and I was like, oh, this is a very unusual looking bass. I mean, you look at it, I mean, that's the body is very unconventional to what we're typically used to and to what Ibanez typically produce, like the sound gears, the BTBs, and then even their ATK models, and I mean now they definitely got some other things going, like with the headless instruments and the fan fret designs, but nothing radical like what the Grooveline is, which is really interesting. So anyway, I saw this bass and I thought, oh, this is really interesting. And like they say, don't judge a book by its cover, but I was totally doing that. But I also wanted to give it a chance because they said, I was told that this is the new high-end model that Ibanez were bringing out. So I played it, and within 10 seconds I was just absolutely blown away. Just how comfortable it sits against the body. Now remember, like I said, it was a 4-string model that I was trying out first. They didn't have a 6-string and they didn't have the 5-string available to me as yet. And I think they just wanted to see if it was something that I'd be into. But I was really impressed with how it felt. It was very comfortable to play, and the sound it was unlike any of the bass guitars that I owned at the time. This was definitely something on a whole different level. And so after 2 weeks of trying out the 4-string one, I told them, I was like, I really dig this, but I'd like to have it in a 5-string model. So they hooked me up with a 5-string over here, this beautiful red Grooveline. I'll pick it up in a minute and show you. And that's what I used to tour with David Archuleta. We went all over the world. It held up throughout the different climates beautifully. I just did a couple of, little truss rod tweaks now and then, but nothing crazy. It just held up so well, and it fit in the band, in the mix, so well. There was no problems whatsoever. Great punchy sound. I mean, as I'm going to explain during this vlog, just how versatile and what I've been able to use these basses on is like pretty much everything that I've done in my professional bass playing career with a number of different artists. So fast forward to a few years later, after playing the 5-string for a number of years it became my main bass. Even though I'm mainly a 6-string bass player, even back then I was playing a 6-string bass. I was playing an Ibanez BTB, not that one. That's a brand new one that I got, and I actually did do a video that you can check out where I do the whole rundown of what this bass is. Obviously this is an Ibanez, and they custom made this one for me. So after this video, you can go check that out. But I was playing a BTB 6-string that I'd had since I was 14 years old. And it was like one of the first generation BTBs, which is really cool. But since getting the Grooveline, that just kind of, I'd say it spoilt me, because it's like, wow, this is a high-end instrument, and this is the sound that it's a new standard for me. And when I'd play my old 6-string, it wouldn't be up to par with that bass, but I just did the best that I could. And in 2013, they came out with the Grooveline 6-string bass, and about almost a year later, I started playing with jazz guitarist Lee Ritenour in his band. And when I was playing in his band, I was using 2 instruments. I was using my 5-string, and I was using that 6-string BTB I had at the time. Obviously, the 5-string had the more superior sound and feel, but I did need to use a 6-string on that gig for certain songs, and obviously the Grooveline 6-string had just come out, and so I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think I could get a Grooveline 6-string? I'm playing Lee Ritenour's gig, and I'd like to use just one bass that covers everything, and it's easier for traveling too. So yeah, they hooked me up with this beautiful 6-string bass, and I literally got this instrument like the morning in the morning of the day that I was flying out to Indonesia with Lee Ritenow to do a tour. And so I picked it up that morning, and I'm still like packing my suitcase and all that. At the same time, I've got this new instrument. I want to play it. I want to jam on it. And at the same time, I'm doing like little adjustments on it, just to get it set up to my playing. But anyway, that was my first gig or first tour with this instrument. It was literally picking it up the morning of and just flying and just doing it. And really, the thing I really love about this is because I've been playing the 5-string, going to the 6-string felt very natural because it's essentially the same kind of combination of woods and electronics as the 5-string, so it was just very natural. And now I have it in a 5-string. So before I give you like a breakdown of the just the specs of these instruments, I just want to quickly let you know that if you go onto my website, Bass with Benjamin, I've got a bunch of courses on there that will really help you out if you are wanting to skyrocket and get better gig opportunities, and you want some tips to help you kind of make your bass lines just pop out a little more. I put together this free course that gives you all this information that I wish I had when I was much younger, and I think will really be beneficial and helpful to you as well. As well as I have some other courses on there. I have a beginning music theory course, for those of you who maybe you've been playing the bass for quite a while and you're a really good player, but you're not really sure of what it is that you're playing, or you want to learn about the modes and just those basic things. I've got this really easy to follow music theory course just for bass players. It's just the stuff that you need to know in order to get you going, and it's really simple. I pretty much teach it the way that I wish it was taught to me when I was much younger, where it's just straight to the point, and it's like, oh, hang on, you know what? That's actually not that bad. So I have that course. And in the beginning there, you saw me playing a bunch of chords and all that. I love playing chords on the bass. I use it on so many situations, gigs, recording sessions. And so, of course, I've put together a whole course that's just about playing bass chords, and I show you how to play every single chord voicing that I know on the bass. And you don't have to have a 6-string to do this course. In fact, most of it is done on a 4-string. So if you want to get into some bass chords, then I highly recommend you go check out that course. And one more thing before we get into the specs here, I have a free weekly newsletter. And in the newsletter, I share like some free bass tips, exercises, and also just some funny and inspiring stories from my career that are definitely worth sharing. So if you want to get that to your email inbox every week, you can sign up for that on my website, or you can click on the links down below in the description box to go to those courses or to sign up for the newsletter. So basswithbenjamin.com, that's what I'm doing, and I'm adding more courses throughout the coming months. So stay up to date with that. Some really exciting stuff there. But anyway, just had to give that plug there since we're in the moment. But let's get into the specs of the Grooveline right here. Now, the 5-string and the 6-string and the 4 strings, it's like I said, it's the same kind of thing. So I'm not going to switch over to the 5-string as yet. I'll get into that in a little bit, because there's something really special about this 5-string that I have. So let's just start with the woods. What's going on with the woods? So the body, it's ash top, alder, and it's ash on the back as well. And you can see it's bolt on. It's got 6 bolts, very solid. The neck, actually I'll go back here. The neck, you can see I've got what's Wenge or Wenji, or however it's pronounced. I don't really know. I've heard it pronounced many different ways. So Wenge and Babinga stripes. So very solid neck, and it's just a single truss rod in here, which I actually really like. I get a little intimidated by a double truss rod, and there's a double truss rod on this other 6-string here, but I prefer to have the single truss rod, just less is more, I guess. And then the fingerboard is rosewood, so it has a very warm character to it, which I really love. The nut, I believe it's a Graphtec nut. Very solid. I mean, what more can you say about that? It does what it's supposed to do. And then the tuners, a Goto tuners on here. Easy, just the craftsmanship of this thing is just incredible. And then carrying on with the body, the pickups. So these were very unique to the Grooveline, and then I guess they started putting them on some other models. There was the first generation of the BTB 7-string that had these are the Sonic Arch cap pickups, and these things are amazing. They got a single coil vibe to them, but I think they're like stacked humbuckers. I mean, I could be totally wrong about that, but that's what I think they are. But I mean, they sound incredible, and the thing that I really love about them, and what really makes this bass the whole thing for me, is that these are placed in the 60s jazz bass position. For me, that's like the favorite spacing or position that I love the pickups to be in, especially for the bridge pickup. To me, that's like the best. That's just the best sweet spot, in my opinion, for a bridge pickup. It's not too nasally. It's just got that right amount of punch and low end. I just love that. So those are really good. Sonic Arch, and they're radiused pickups as well, and it's the same thing on the 5-string as well. And then the controls, we go volume, blend, bass, mid, treble, and there is a active and passive switch. Now this knob here, this knob is not on the standard Grooveline. This is a modification that I had Ibanez do for me, and same thing on the 5-string. This is a passive passive tone control, or just a tone control. I mean, it works in both active and passive modes, but for me, I want to have the flexibility of being able to roll off all the treble without having to touch the treble knob on the bass. I want to roll off all the string noise and the fretting noise, and so that's what it enables me to do. And if I want to open up like the high end, I can do that. I'll give you a little demo. So right now I've got it all the way dark, so you can hear it's got a dark sound, and I can open it all the way up. So very versatile, and then I adjust that throughout throughout a song, or just depending on what the needs are for the tone. But yeah, very versatile preamp. The EQ is very powerful, and a little goes a long way. So it's I mean, this is all developed by Ibanez. There's no other companies that's kind of did some designs, or this is just Ibanez's thing. And just going back to what I said earlier, they took the input from many different professional bass players to create this instrument. And in this bridge, I mean, this is a very solid piece of aluminum or aluminium. It's really heavy, and that's the only thing about this one, the 6-string, is that this thing is heavy, and because of this bridge. But it's also the reason why this bass sounds so good. It sounds so fat and solid, and just this beautiful, warm, and punchy sound. This bridge definitely contributes to it, and just does exactly what a bridge is supposed to do, really. So, and what's really cool, actually, you probably can't see it, but it's you do your settings on it, and then there's another screw here for each saddle where you just lock it in place. That's it. It's not going to move or anything. So you just set it, lock it, and it's good to go. And that, I feel like that kind of helps keep each saddle just in place and solid and connected. It's not moving around, and so that just adds to, I guess, the just how the strings react with the whole instrument in itself. So yeah, I mean, in terms of with the instrument, that's more or less it. I mean, it's a 9-volt battery supply. And on the back, just a little cover, just quick change, and the bridge is also a quick change, I should add there. You just don't have to string through anything, just literally just to take it out. So I can change the strings on this thing really fast. So yeah, this bass is probably the most versatile instrument I've ever owned. I've used it on hundreds of gigs, recording sessions, playing different styles of music, playing jazz, fusion, funk, R&B, rock, metal, hip hop. It's just it can get so many different sounds from whether you're just playing just solid bass, or if you're soloing as well. That's the thing that I love, is that this thing just sings. It just speaks out. Slap sound is incredible on it. Yeah, it's just so many different things that you can get from it. And then that's just both pickups. If I go to the bridge pickup, we can get that classic Jaco growl. Oops, I got the volume down. And if you want to get a, that P bass sound, that front pickup, and I can roll the tone all the way off, and we have. So it covers many different things. It's just you can do so many different. It's just always been my go-to whenever I roll up to a gig or a session. It's just this bass, and for traveling, this has been all around the world, and like I said, it's just held up wonderfully and beautifully. Because I've played it so much, I have had this refretted probably twice now in the 10 years that I've had this instrument. And the thing that's different from, I guess, the fret wire that it originally came with is when the first refret, I asked Ibanez can we put jumbo frets on there? Because, why not? I don't know anything about jumbo frets, but I just wanted to try something new. And so I did. And so far, I'm into it. I think it just gives me maybe a little more sustain or something. I know there's like an argument there. I'm not going to get into that argument. All I know is that especially when playing chords, like I said, that I love to do, it's every single note is clear. And let me point out, with this instrument, every single note is well balanced, So just playing chords on this is just a absolute dream. It's these things are just incredible. Now, what happened to them? Well, unfortunately, these basses, they weren't a hit. They just didn't take off. It was just one of those, things that, we've seen this throughout history of many things. Cars, other instruments, aircraft. It was just one of those things where they put in a lot of design effort and probably put in a lot of money to do research into this. And it just they didn't recoup from it. It didn't work out for them. It just never took off. And personally, as someone who was a top core musician, bass player in the Los Angeles music scene, I've never seen any other bass player use these basses, use the Grooveline. I haven't really seen anybody else in person use a Grooveline. I haven't been to a gig or a festival around the United States and, when watching a band and seeing a bass player go, oh, they got a Grooveline as well. I've never seen that. I've yet to see that. I've seen YouTube videos, people playing, and some people in some of the Ibanez Facebook groups have a Grooveline when they post pictures, but yeah, I just haven't seen so many of them. The 6-string bass, Grooveline bass in particular, is pretty rare. It's a bit of a unicorn. From what I understand, what I was told, less than 50 were ever made, and not all of them were assembled. And these are made in Japan, so in Japan there are some of these floating around, and I think they have in the factory they have just some of the parts laying around. But yeah, these are pretty rare, and from what I understand, there is another model that came out in 2013 that they were trying to kind of help the line get a little more traction, and this was the Grooveline G205, and I think it was just slightly different in terms of maybe the finish, but it still had the same wood combinations, and I think this is that they were just really trying to kind of just push it to appeal a little more, but sadly it didn't work out. And so by 2016 the Groovelines were gone. That was it, and from what I understand, I don't think we're gonna see them ever again, but never say never. Anything could happen. But from what I understand, they were pretty disappointed and pretty upset that it didn't work out. And a number of factors were probably, I think, the body. Not everyone was into this body shape. A lot of people are definitely quick to judge by the looks. And especially if you're browsing on the internet, you're looking at that and going, I'm not sure. And for the price point as well, like I said, this was their newest top of the line model bass at the time. And so, you mean I'm going to pay that money for an instrument that looks like that? And that's what happened, unfortunately. But this is the thing. I feel this instrument didn't get a fair chance. Not a lot of people gave it a go, and but I'm glad and I'm so thankful to Ibanez for putting these instruments in my hands, and I really got to see, and I get to see, and have been, the full potential of just how incredible these basses are. They're just something that I've never really played before. And a lot of other professional bass players who have had a go on this bass have been like, oh, wow, there's something different going on here. It's definitely unlike what Ibanez have been doing in the past, and but I'm really glad that this does exist, and they were trying something new. But if you do get a chance to try a Grooveline, have a go. These things are just beautiful. And they're so well balanced. I mean, the reason why the body shape is like this is because it's so ergonomic. This cutaway here, it's lower down. It's sloped a little. It's got a little more slope to it. It's not sticking up over here because it gives you a really good playing angle. And then this over here, the reason why it's got a little more downward trajectory is because this is perfectly contoured to sit on your thigh. And just this upper body horn, it just fits beautifully. And where the strap pin is, This is directly over the 12th fret. So that means when you have the strap connected, you don't have any neck dive. But also, if I was to take off the strap, I don't have any neck dive whatsoever. I mean, you look at that. If I was playing one of my other basses, the thing would just go, but this thing just sits, and you know, there's no one down here holding this instrument. This is just sitting in my lap just like that, and that's what I love about this instrument. It's so perfectly balanced, and that's what I'm saying, is that they took input from so many other bass players and just put together this incredible instrument. It was probably one of those things where maybe it was just too ahead of its time. I mean, even though a lot of companies were already doing these kinds of breakthroughs, but in terms of a big company like Ibanez having all these many features, these like premium features to an instrument, it might have been too early. That's the thing. Before we finish up, I want to show you the 5-string, and this one is even more of a unicorn. I'm just going to switch over here, hit the good old mute switch, and let's get 5-string going here. And as you can see, I mean, this thing is gorgeous, beautiful red finish. The thing that's unique about this, and maybe some of you might have already figured out because of the way that the light is shining on the fretboard, this thing is a fretless. Am I plugged in properly? I know I was getting a little crackle. I think I might be okay. Okay, there we go. So they never put out a fretless model at all. This used to be a fretted bass, and like I said, this is the first Grooveline that you know, obviously there was that 4-string that I tried out for 2 weeks, but this is the very first one that they gave to me, and it was a fretted bass. When I got the 6-string, I wasn't playing this bass as much, and so I was in need of a fretless bass. And at the time, I had the Gary Willis fretless bass. It was the black finish one, and incredible bass. One of the best fretless basses you can buy out there, especially for its price. It's just, you know, it does so many things. Incredible tone, so versatile. But for what I was going for something a little different than that, especially in terms of my ideal fretless tone. I was going for more of the Jaco thing, which is, you know, 60s bridge position, a epoxy coated fingerboard, and that was just the thing that was in my mind that I wanted. And so in 2016, I asked the cats over at the Ibanez Custom Shop in LA, like, hey, is it possible that we could turn the Grooveline 5-string into a fretless? because I think that would be really cool. I've got the 6-string, obviously, and it'd be cool to have the Grooveline 5 as a fretless. That way, you know, I've got everything covered. And so they thought about it and just asked around. And at the time, they had just added a new luthier to their team, and this was a dude who was more. He was a bass player, and I guess he was doing more of the bass work, like repairs and modifications and building of the instruments. It's just a new addition to their team, and so they asked him, like, "Hey, do you think you could do a D fret job, like a fretless conversion job? Is that something that you could possibly do?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I told him, like, "Look, I want the Jarko treatment. You know, rip out the frets and put in, you know, either wood putty or, you know, I guess maple veneer in the slots." I think he used the maple veneer by the looks of it, and then put the epoxy coating on there on the fingerboard, get it really nice and rock solid. So 4 months later, I get this thing back. I mean, it's beautiful. Again, you know, it's the perfect duo with the 6-string Grooveline. I just love playing melodically on it. It just sings. And when I started playing with Peter Erskine, I started using this bass quite a lot. I'd use both instruments, but there were a few songs where I used fretless or needed to use fretless, and this thing would just sing so beautifully. So yeah, this bass is a bit of a unicorn. This one, I keep using that word quite a lot. But it really is. I have not, first of all, I mean, like I said, I haven't come across another Grooveline player at all, really, in in person. But I haven't come across a Grooveline fretless. If you have a Grooveline fretless, please let me know. I'd like to know. And I think the only reason why there's no other Grooveline fretless is because this was converted into one. They never put out a fretless model. So this is even more of a rarity. But again, I love these basses so much. You don't see them a lot these days. And hopefully Ibanez might decide to have another go at bringing out the Grooveline again, and maybe to where it's a little more accessible to a lot of people. There's definitely some things that they could do to help maybe just bring the price point down a little more without compromising, quality and the craftsmanship. But yeah, there's a lot of people who have been curious about these instruments. And when they've seen me play it and heard it and going, wow, what is that thing? And then they're going, that's an Ibanez? Wow. So yeah, Grooveline, the Ibanez Grooveline, incredible. The thing I forgot to tell you, they're 34-inch scale instruments. 34, just real standard. That's the thing. They utilize these very standard and traditional features. But obviously they have many different aesthetics to it. So yeah, that's what it is. The Ibanez Grooveline. So if you have any more questions about it, just please let me know down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them. But I hope that kind of just gives you more an idea on what these basses do and what they're capable of. If you want to hear them, there's all kinds of videos on YouTube of me playing them, as well as pretty much just about every recording that I've done, where I'm using a Grooveline bass, from Peter Erskine to Chance the Rapper, Billy Childs, John Beasley, and even playing with Dave Weckl. There's a video on YouTube as well. Mike Stern. I'm kind of name dropping here a little bit, but I mean, I've used these basses with a lot of people, and they've just always, served so well. So anyway, that is episode 1 of the Bass with Benjamin vlog, and all about the Grooveline, the Ibanez Grooveline basses. So thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I guess hit that notification bell icon. I always hear people saying that in the video, so I think I'm saying the right thing. And again, this is a weekly thing, so you'll get notified of when the next episode will be, and I don't know what the next episode will be about, but we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much, and please go check out my website, Bass with Benjamin, if you want to learn more about the bass and music. I'm here to help you out. But thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Take care.